Yeah. Here he is. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What just happened? I was just getting my teeth kicked in BFE, Montana on an archery hunt. Couldn't catch a break. Then totally unplanned, I'm in Alberta, Canada, waiting out the biggest buck of my life. Yeah, you heard that right. The biggest buck of my life. But not without a little drama.
All right, this is nuts. I had my buddy call me last night, Blake from Big Tines up in Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada. He's like, dude, I got a mule deer tag and I got a stud of a buck found. So I'm like, can you be up here tomorrow? I'm like, dude, my son just had a tonsillectomy. I got another hunt I got to be on the 25th. I don't have anything packed. Why not? Blake has smashed some absolute giants over the years. I've had him on the podcast before. He has an affinity for black bears. Killed some slammers, some of the biggest all-time black bears in the Providence, Alberta, including some fantastic mule deer. I'll show you around the shop as soon as I get there. I'm gonna take this to shoot off of some of that high prairie grass where Blake's got a lot of those videos of those bucks. Seems like you need something high to shoot off of. So got my case there, it should be under 50 pounds. Boots, I'll wear these on the airplane. Got Mystery Ranch pack, another extra tripod, and the Grizzly duffel here. So, Blake, see you at 350. Alberta bound. Here at the Oversized now, waiting to get my rifle checked by an officer, and we should be good to go to Grand Prairie. Final leg, here we go. I'm gonna take you in Blake's shop right now and show you how unreal this dude's pedigree when it comes to freaking giant mule deer, whitetail, and all things North America. Check this out.
Oh,
Welcome.
the new shop.
I mean, take a look at these walls. This guy's middle name should be #Muley.
You got a lot of history with these deer. We got to start with this. Let's start with the most recent big buck you shot.
This 214 incher up here, tremendous deer, has approaching 20-inch G2s, world-class back end, has a 206 typical frame on him, 214 gross. A deer I knew for a couple, 2-3 years before we ended up taking him, and it actually turns out to this day it's my biggest hard-horn mule deer I've ever personally shot. Watched him feed at 500 yards for an hour and a half in the shadows as the sun was coming up on a cold, frosty October morning, and I passed him. Typical me, not in a hurry, take my footage, my media, come home, digest it, look at everything he's got. I knew exactly what he was, but I wasn't in a hurry. As you get older, tend to slow down, don't get so rammy, enjoy the moment. It's not just running out there and banging a deer in some cases, but from one year to the next, from about a 170 to a 214 gross, and he ended up being a 5.5-year-old deer, which is a mature deer in my country. The older the better, but 5.5's fair game, and I was happy and blessed to take that deer.
Holy smokes.
Beautiful deer, dark, classic, dark Canadian antler deer. Good mass. I wouldn't call him exceptionally heavy for our area, but in a lot of other parts of the world, it's a heavy buck. Tremendous long G2, some of the longest I've ever measured. Absolute stunner of a buck.
What about this one?
That's a buck I found when he was 4 years old. He, even as a 4-year-old, you know, he wasn't super impressive, but he had a look about him that it was a deer you wanted to keep an eye on moving forward. Just had the look. He was a slick 4, approaching 170 as a 4-year-old. So nothing
Not that impressive.
No, not that impressive, but there was something about him that caught my eye. He had some mass, he had nice forks, he was well built, you know, so I was thinking as a 5 or 6-year-old, you know, maybe he turns into a nice heavy 180 or something like that. So it was definitely a buck of interest I wanted to keep an eye on. As a 5.5-year-old, was completely disappointed in his horn growth. But it wasn't the deer, it was the growing season. The deer, turns out he had great bloodlines, but he needed a perfect storm to excel the horn growth department, and that winter was a long, cold spring, late spring. Early spring, all that nutrition is going straight into the horns rather than a cold, long, wet spring. All that early spring nutrition needs to go back into the body because the bucks run down, so on and so forth. So, and I found him at the end of July and was almost baffled when I ran into him. Clearly the same deer, and it was the perfect storm. Early spring, warm spring, prime feed. He wintered easy. So all that nutrition he was getting in the early spring months directly to the headgear because his body was in great physical shape. He didn't quite need the nutrition to stay alive, if you will. Massive deer. He's longer than you think because he's got such mass in his tines and really good curl. To his G2s, 3s, 4s, everything is real curvy on this deer, so it's all longer than you think. So he was 209 gross, found him in his bed, got to 50 yards, waited till he stood up, made my shot count, and anchored a tremendous 6.5-year-old mule deer that absolutely exploded from a 5.5 to a 6.5-year-old deer. Growing seasons are important, and age matters as well. If you've ever hunted mature white-tailed deer at a high level, you understand how difficult that process is without the use of bait, without the use of road hunting, running and gunning, to actually find a mature 6-7-year-old white-tailed buck, get into his neighborhood, sit him out and wait and beat him at his own game is literally, of all the success I've had out in North America here, that is the hardest and probably most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. On public land, I might add.
Oh, wow.
Public land deer where anybody has the right to hunt them. And to go in on public land and outwit, actually I aged him as well, 6.5-year-old whitetail buck and beat him at his own game was probably, to me, the most satisfying, rewarding thing I've ever done. Surpasses the 112 mule deer bucks over 180 inches I've guided and or taken myself. Killing a mature whitetail buck fair and square in North America, I believe, is the hardest thing any hunter could accomplish. And I finally got one. Beast of a buck with dang near baseball bat mass on him. Tell me that ain't
Dude, freaking
one
like I'm holding this
bad deer.
It's heavy.
Very dense horns.
like-
So the night I killed this deer, I brought him home with the guts in him, and I did a live weight weigh-in that very night, and I did a Instagram reel, of course. 370 pounds live weight white-tailed deer. True story. It was a white-tailed bull. I mean, they're not even deer at that point anymore. They're so dang big. Never hunted or had a northern Alberta mule deer in your hands, and just how much bigger body they are to various other places you hunt. You can't even believe what you're actually looking at, to be quite honest with you. The ears, the bodies, the sizes of them are so much bigger. And I've heard it a million times with a client or a friend that I've taken out, and they kill a northern Alberta mule deer buck, and the first thing, regardless of the horns that they see when they see that buck at their feet, look at the body of this deer. It's cool for a muley freak like yourself to come up here, see what we have to offer up here, and let's hope we have a little good fortune and good luck, and you can connect on a very mature deer to actually see him at your feet and put him in your hands, because I guarantee you, my friend, you're going to be blown away. They're in the food source right now, but it's about to get cut and they're going to disappear. They're hardhorn, they're going to hit the bush, and that's going to be the end of them, likely until late October, November, when the doe starts smelling a little pretty and they start thinking about running.
I'm sticking.
I've seen...
Is there going to be a buck die tonight?
If you want to pull the trigger, I would suspect the buck's going to die tonight. That's up to you. Your hunt, your holiday.
We got decisions to make. We got a giant 3-point. Blake has oodles and oodles of video on this guy. And we got this old ancient 4x3, and I wouldn't say ancient. I would say big, mature, prime time, right?
Yeah, 6.5-year-old buck, I would say.
How old's the 3-point?
Oh, geez, there's no telling. I would gauge him to be, I want to say 8 to 10.
Only been in Alberta, what? A couple hours?
Yeah, something like that.
And we're already on a couple monster bucks. We're sitting in the truck here because we're kind of watching them out in a canola field. I got to see, I don't kill that one without seeing the other one, though, do I?
No, and I've been trying to explain these two deer to you for, we've been talking about them all summer, as a matter of fact. And this worked out. We got to get you up here today to come have a look. And, we're going over the this and the that and the that and the this of them. But I'm like, Eric, you need to see these deer. I'm telling you, they're monster bucks, both of them. 100% shooters in my book. be damned we don't drive out here. And the one's standing out here right now, and then the other one is a big monster 8-9-year-old 3x3 with just massive bases, huge brow tines, and he's actually just tucked in the tree line here right now. So we got both of them sitting here at our beck and call, which is pretty exciting to be a mule deer hunter in Alberta if your name's Eric.
Pretty hard to shoot a buck without a bolt in the gun.
Yeah.
I was in a rush to get out, and it's my fault. Dang it.
The good thing is we still have at least an hour and a half of legal shooting light. The bucks are in a good position. They're not spooky, so we have time. So with any luck, we'll be able to get there and back and pull this off.
1 hour later.
All right, back in business.
Got your guide, got your outfitter, got your cameraman.
We got the bolt right there. We're gonna go make a play on this deer. In business.
Yep, and hopefully he's where we left him, and we got damn near an hour of legal shooting light, so we're in good shape to make a sneak and capitalize.
These bucks moved off. I don't know where they went. I don't know if they went and bedded in those trees or what. Came back and they're gone. What happened, Blake? That's what happens when your hunter forgets his bolt.
By the time we got back, the bucks crossed the road onto land we don't have permission on, so we're gonna have to come back in the morning, and hopefully they cross over to where we can hunt them where we have permission. That's all we can do. That's it.
So here I am, trying to turn up this deer. And honestly, I'm feeling a bit blue. Yesterday, I left the bolt out of my gun, and for a second, I thought I totally screwed the pooch. Then suddenly, I spot a buck. Dang, he looks good.
That's a big deer.
There's one. What I tell you about the holes in the field.
Crazy.
Way out there, I just see a monster frame laying in the canola
Oh,
field.
you're kidding.
No, not kidding. It's the big 3, but I bet the big 4x3 is with him, Eric.
So we got that 7x6 bedded out there, but we also found the big 3x4 from yesterday. So we got some decisions to make.
Oh, we're in good shape. The bucks are calm. They're bedded. They're not leaving this field. They usually are where you think they are.
I know, right?
You know?
It's always good when you got options.
When you got decisions. I mean, we literally have 3 bona fide shooters on a 160 acre piece of land that we have permission to be on. So, I mean, it could be worse.
This buck's a 5.5-year-old out in the field. He's got freaking tines everywhere, length. He's got freaking dark. He's got mass. But the other one's older. And where Blake is managing this area, and you know, who knows, maybe there's an opportunity to come back another year and shoot this other buck. But he could, like Blake says, has the potential to be a absolute monster.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
There's very few bucks in the wild that actually have true 200 plus genetics in
And
them.
he does.
He absolutely does. As a 5.5-year-old, he's in the 190s here right now. He's got better years in front of him. I know that. Where the other buck that we're looking at here, he's 6.5 years old. He's getting to be to the point. This is as good as he's going to get. And to me, as a serious mule deer hunter, age matters.
Yeah.
We have options, and we have nothing but time. The bucks are calm, laying. I'd rather kill the old one. In the hands, to me today, he's a more impressive deer.
For sure. You think so?
I know he is.
More impressive once you hold it.
He's way more framier than this buck, Eric. This buck's short. This buck's sitting on, he's got 12, 13 inch G2s. And you know what a 12, 13 inch G2 is.
Very true.
That's exactly what he has. So too many people get lost in extra points.
There is a lure there.
Absolutely. It's so attractive to see something more than your straight typical 4x4. People get lost in extras, hence why so many young deer get killed, because they have extras, and people get lost in a drop tine or an extra split or something like that too, where you need to look beyond the headgear and look at the age of the deer. If you want to be a serious trophy mule deer hunter, shoot the old ones.
Blake's right. That deer out there's, I don't want to call him a baby monster because he doesn't have milk on his lips, but he's a short, compact monster, and he's freaking gorgeous.
With lots of eye appeal.
Yeah, he's hard to be like, Blake, we're really going to walk away from this deer. And ultimately, Blake said he's a 5.5-year-old, so he's fair game, so it's up to me, and I want to go kill him. But, you know, Blake's right. You know, killing an older, more mature deer. And honestly, yeah, I haven't seen that buck's face, so well, in person, I saw it on a video. You can just tell that this other one's just a pig that's hanging out with this giant 3-point. You can tell. He's freaking looks like he's about ready to go to the slaughterhouse.
He's an old man. Yeah.
He's an old man. So we're going to leave this buck. He'll be here for some reason if it doesn't work out over there, and we can go make a play on the old guy.
This is a buck we're going to make a play on in 2022. He was a stud then, and now he's 2 years older. An absolute giant of a buck.
Oh,
this is me.
Naked Blake.
Sending selfies to the wife. Do you love it? Do you love that? No, just a stud of a buck 2 years ago. He even looked mature there, and now he's 2 years older. Very impressive deer.
No 4-point on the one side, but he grew an extra inline off his G3. Well, his main beam, just past his G3.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
We're not going to be disappointed in that deer whatsoever.
We got him out there. We're going to get the wind right, get play. He's a lot older deer, at least 2 years probably on this other big sucker, if you will. And we're going to go make a play. Hey, this area, this is Blake's baby. This is about managing for age, not just size, hence why we're passing a 195-inch deer, which sounds insane, right? So anyway, we're going to get the wind right. Blake's going to be behind the camera, and we're going to get her done.
That's right. Wish us luck.
Let's go. You weren't lying. It's freaking loud. Get in these sprayer trucks. Freaking dog over there. Farmer's dog's gonna screw up our stock. Get out of here. Go on, get out of here. Hey, what's that all about?
Stupid dog.
Yards bedded. We need to stand up. Got this buck bedded at 100 yards. Waiting for it to stand up. You recording? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Here he is.
Dude. Nailed him.
What a stock. 80 yards. This freaking canola. Freaking 175 grain ELDX. Freaking hammer just heard the wind go out of him. Put it right in the center of his shoulder. Freaking 7 PRC right here just made him disappear in the canola. You just heard it just absorb into his flesh. Dude, just like that buck down, huh?
Absolute stud of an old mature Alberta buck too, Eric. Happy for you, buddy.
I'm stoked, man.
congratulations. Let's go have a look at him.
Thanks, dude. Let's go look at him.
Got some meat in those tines.
Yeah, he does. He really does. After the bolt mishap, I totally redeemed myself.
I wasn't too worried about it.
I was beating myself up a little last.
Yeah, I've done it long enough not to worry about the little things.
Hey, how about that dog though?
Oh. Pain in the butt, dude. Look at this hole he's laying in. You tell me he doesn't know his
He knows how to hide.
area?
He knows how to hide.
Incredible.
Oh man,
Yeah, dude.
freaking framey, dude.
He's a frickin' pig, but
Oh my gosh.
what'd I tell you?
The pig.
There's no debate. I told you. Look at the he's got 2 more extras there, little guys.
Oh my gosh.
He's a beast. Let's go, bud.
Wherever I hit him, it's stopping good. That is a framey, girthy buck. These brows on this thing. Oh, just a freaking pig, man.
Absolute beast.
Holy smokes. Oh my gosh. Thank you, bud.
Tag on this old boy.
Super blessed. This opportunity. Kids and wife and everyone that sacrifices for me and us and get to do what we do. And my love for Infinity, for mule deers. Dude, I fell in love with them a long time ago. But my love for these prairie giants started back in '08 when I came here on a recruiting trip back when I was doing alarms. I was in the mountains, hunting them on the prairie now. Anyhow. Alright, we're gonna take this, wheel it out there, and strap the buck on him.
The old wobbly cart.
Should work. We'll find out.
I'll pull one.
I think we'll be able to pull them together, probably. Well, see what.
Wrapped his antler down here. Blake did some freaking magician work there.
See if it works. Here we go. You shoot the deer, you drag them out. It's gonna be difficult but easier than dragging them through the crop. We could butcher and pack them out, but it's only about 300 yards back to the truck, so we figured we'd give this a try. And if it works out, great. If not, we'll resort to another plan here. Bag, legal.
Rumor had it that a local Canuck had sheds off my buck. Now, I don't know about you, but when you hear that kind of talk, you've got to investigate. The sheds on this buck could tell me a lot about his history and his growth year over year. So I set out to track down the truth. And when I found those sheds, let's just say it gave me additional level of gratitude for the animal.
Oh, it's an awesome deer, unbelievable character. The one was on the ground for like 16 hours, and the other one was like 2 days.
Oh yes, you found him shed.
Oh, I was all like, because I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's the end of March. It's any minute now. And I drove by them, and I seen it post holes, and I'm like, okay. So right in there, and I grabbed him. I grabbed the 3-pointer.
Yeah. He's got sheds from the big 3-point. Here we go. Holy smokes. Wow. I feel like he's a lot bigger than this year too.
Well, he's not
smaller.
He's not as forky.
He's not as forky,
No.
but his frame's bigger.
His beams look longer this year, in my opinion.
And his brows.
His brows are even longer.
They're ridiculous, the brows.
That one I think was 5 and 5.
Yeah.
And I think this was 5 and 2, I want to say.
This is longer this year.
This year I think they're 6.5 and 6. This scores again. That one the base might score also.
Look at the pedicle.
They're huge. They're bigger this year, I think.
I think he's bigger than this. No doubt.
He's not as forky in the back. Like he's like this both sides.
Yeah.
But he's what, 9?
God, he's ancient.
Oh, he's a lot wider than that too.
Well, he's something like this. Like honestly.
He minimum 32.
I know.
Minimum.
I know.
Yeah. Wow, what a buck, man. To
Yes.
kill a big old mature monarch like this in freaking northern Alberta, like, this might be my greatest trophy of all time. And it's not that he scores like better than some of my biggest. And he's probably close, but man, this thing looks like he's been at a feedlot. And it's September 22nd. And this thing's just a freaking mega giant. I've never seen rolls on a neck like this on a mule deer. And this buck's not even rutted up. Just a fat, old, mature, super healthy mule deer that's eaten a lot of crop, wintered well, and has some mega antlers too. Like this thing, I don't know if you can get that look right there, but you can just see 6.5 to 7.5 per Blake. And we'll get him aged, but like just an old buck. This buck is unbelievable. To kill a buck like this, 8.5 years old, that we have history with, we even have the sheds off him. It snuck up to 80 yards. We could have killed this thing with a bow. Pretty incredible. Feel super blessed, extremely fortunate. Huge thanks, Big Time, Blake. Not many more guys as passionate as him about deer and his bear and everything else. So, gonna get him to skinning shed. We're gonna hang him up. Phase 3 Blake talks about is you take the cape off the head and then they grow again. And that's what this buck did. You just see these Alberta bucks, the maturity and size of these northern deer is just unbelievable. Look at it swallow at my hand.
Get ready to cut her.
What's the secret to the perfect
Backstrap?
backstrap?
I like to clean them up, get all that fat and sinew off them. I like to cut them maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch thick. Hot pan butter, salt, pepper, maybe a little seasoning salt. Quick fry, medium rare. Cannot beat it. Absolutely excellent.
What's the key here to cooking it?
What's that?
What's the key?
Not really.
Little sear?
Little sear. Don't overcook them. Meat's juicy. It's putting out a lot of water. Might have to drain her a little bit here, but
Homegrown meal right here.
Basically, yes. Homegrown cabbage, buckwheat, carrots, potatoes.
Ooh. Wow, that's good. All right, we're getting the brains out, the meat off,
and we're gonna put gas lines on all the tines so we can make it airline friendly, get this big old buck back to Utah.
All caped out. Like I've been saying all along, super dense buck. How's he look? What do you think?
Heavy duty, old mature, best kind to take out of the herd.
What do you think, Blake? Gonna try to put gas line on these trips to transport it?
Yeah, my secret is when they're going airline transport, go buy some clear gas line, force them on as hard as you can, snip them off a little high, of course to protect the tip. They stay on there real good. It's just a tip saver because the airlines don't give a fiddler's F about your cargo. Never had a tip break, sent home literally thousands and thousands and thousands of inches of bone across the border. It's my little tip on transportation of antler. This will protect them all the way home. A little trick I picked up almost a couple decades ago for transporting antlers long distances via airplane. So here's the sheds off that big mule deer Eric killed here with me in Alberta, and typically using gas line about yay big. You know, this is a nice heavy shed buck, but we had to run into town and pick up gas line that big to get over these massive meaty effing tines, because this stuff couldn't get over it. This is typically what we're putting on all of our great big deer, but we had to upgrade to some heavy duty big stuff to get it on that thick bugger. But
And that's how you get it on an airplane.
big time special.
Big time special.
Beautiful buck, Eric.
Taxidermy day, let's go.
Whoa! She done?
Eat lunch, buddy.
Looks good.
A few things we want to talk about here with Eric's Canadian deer. This is not your typical Utah deer. We only mount about 5 to 10 Canadian deer a year in this shop, and there's significant differences when you look at the capes. So one thing you want to look at first of all is what we call our measurement from the bottom of the burr here to the jowl line. Okay, this is huge for a Canadian deer, man. This is ginormous. So on a Utah deer, on a big Utah deer, you're going to be somewhere in this area. So it's almost 1.5 inches bigger. Okay. The next thing you'll want to look at, okay, is the width of your head. So if you take the measurement between my two fingers, that is really, really wide. Okay, you're not going to get that here in Utah or in Nevada and the desert type deer. Just giant. Another thing you want to check out is just the nose. They developed this really big boned nose. So from the side you get a type of a Roman nose look, but it's really, really wide. Here in Utah, those noses will get Roman nose, but they get really skinny. So there's some few differences. So if you look at this deer straight on, it almost looks like his ears might be small, but they're natural, regular sized ears. They just look small because that head is so dang big. Okay. This deer was not rutting, but had it been rutting, it would be absolutely just ginormous, and it's huge for a non-rutting buck. Neck size goes, for those taxidermists out there, this is 25-inch measurement. We maybe mount 2 a year that will hit 25. This was our only deer this year that hit 25 inches on the neck. So that just gives you a few things to look at when you're looking at deer. Check them out at the expo. It's just ginormous deer. Congrats to Eric. Awesome buck, and we're happy to mount him for him.
How many deer do you mount a year, would you say, to give people an idea?
We do about 220 deer a year here in our shop.
Okay.
So.
And this is the biggest deer to come through the shop this year, body-wise, cape-wise.
This is the biggest body-wise, yep. Normally, we've got to go shopping for big capes like this to mount big deer, and most of the time we got to get them from Canada, to be honest. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what'd you do form-wise with this?
Form-wise, we did some alterations. So obviously, we had to add a bigger head. So you'll notice this big jowl line. You take your finger and run underneath, you'll see how my finger disappears. So we add a big jowl on that thing. So as these big deer get older, it's just like a human or whatever, those jowls, that skin starts to drop. Okay, and then we added these nice detail wrinkles in the side of them there. Just like he's a big fat, laying in an Alberta field, just fattening up type look. So yeah, there's a few differences. And then obviously, just a big broad nose on him. Just don't see that on a lot of deer around here. So this is just a really big animal. So typical is 6.5.
And we're almost 8 here.
You're almost 8, 7 3/4. Your block is almost 8. So those two almost always match. That's a taxidermy secret for you. So a Utah deer is typically 6.5.
Oh wow.
6.5. So that gives you.
And we're 8 and 8 1/4, or?
You are just about 8, 7 and 7/8.
8 there. Match the back to this reclaimed wood right here. Really, really cool. Oh my gosh.
6 1/4.
Here's a big old velvet buck right here. We just measured 6 1/4 crossed.
6 3/4.
And 6 3/4. Shows you the difference in an Alberta deer versus, is this a Utah deer? Versus
Big Utah deer.
A big Utah deer. We're talking 200. 230. And this Alberta deer, body-wise, I want to say dorsum, but it has significant bigger. What would you call those two?
We call them the block and the depth measurements. is
Block
what
and
we
depth
call them, yeah.
measurements.
That's one of my better mounts. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but that's one of the better mounts I've done in a long time.